on the topic Harnessing Gen AI and Process Mining for Business Transformation, where we'll gain insights from experts on leveraging Gen AI and process mining to drive business transformation through innovative use cases. I'd like to introduce you to our panelists, and as I invite them onto the stage, please give them a big round of applause. We have with us Anita Skaria-George, Practice Director, Enterprise Applications, and the Power of Utility Sector Leader, EY Global Delivery Services. Please give her a big round of applause as we welcome her to this panel discussion. Anita is the Enterprise Applications and the Power and Utility Sector Leader for EY Global Delivery Services. She has 30 years of professional experience in information technology across consulting, product development, and customer services. She is an elected member of the NASSCOM GCC Regional Council for Karnataka. Welcome, Anita. Joining Anita on stage and on the panel is Dr. Renuka Sindgata, Senior Technical Staff Member and Manager at IBM Research. Renuka is a seasoned professional with over 25 years of experience in the software industry research, and academia. As a technical leader at IBM Research, she heads a team dedicated to developing AI-based solutions that enhance user productivity and improve business processes. Collaborating with IBM's research and product teams, her work focus on advancing innovations for optimizing business operations and contributing to IBM's product portfolio. We'd like to welcome Dr. Renuka. We also have with us this afternoon, joining them on the panel, Neha Bajpai, Director at Deloitte. Neha is a director with the Technology and Transformation Practice in Deloitte, India. She leads the process mining and an analytics division for Deloitte India. She has an overall of 14 plus years of professional experience in consulting. She has spearheaded numerous high-impact client engagements across multiple sectors. She's a face for women leadership in the area of process mining in her organization. We'd like to welcome Neha. We also have with us Dr. Monica Gupta, Principal Technology Consultant and Innovation Lead at Celonis. Monica is a Principal Technology Consultant and Innovation Lead at Celonis India Private Limited. She also serves as the India Chapter Lead for Women in Process Mining. Monica is a sought-after speaker at international conferences, industry events, and academic institutions. Monica was awarded the very prestigious Prime Minister's Research Fellowship and holds multiple US-granted patents. We'd like to welcome Dr. Monica. And moderating this session is Vishnupriya Elluru, Associate Director, Deloitte. Vishnupriya is a recognized leader in AI-driven digital transformation and process mining with over 16 years of expertise in IT, including extensive work in the process mining and US healthcare sector. As Associate Director at Deloitte, she currently leads a process mining center of excellence where she develops and implements innovative solutions that merge Gen AI with process mining to enhance operational efficiencies and business insights. We'd like to welcome Vishnupriya and the entire panel. Over to you, Vishnupriya.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really excited for you all to join us today and also kickstart this panel discussion on harnessing Gen AI and process mining for business transformations. How many of you think that you were part of any process implementation from the morning? Any process execution? From the audience, how many of you think you were part of any process? See, I got up and made tea, so I was part of a step in the process. So if you think you are part of this, then you are in a right session. We will delve into a lot of details on how Gen AI and process mining are transforming businesses. Now, so I know that everyone would have heard about generative AI, but I want to just bring in a context of process mining. Now imagine you have a very big organization where every process feels like rush hour Bangalore traffic. Everyone would have experienced it, no? Coming here. Then again, despite endless meetings and impressive dashboards, things still get bogged down. Every delay in the process leads to frustrated customer and rising costs. Also, somewhere a senior IT manager would be sipping his 5th coffee of the day. Right. Imagine if that organization has an X-ray vision, which gives the real life map where and showing you where exactly things are gets stalling. Process mining is that X-ray machine, which helps you to identify issues in real time. Combining together GenAI and process mining, transforming businesses by turning the reactive firefighting into proactive solutions. So let me start off with our panelists. Oh. Monica and Renuka, I just wanted to, since both of you have more than a decade of experience in process mining together with GenAI, I wanted to ask you how GenAI is revolutionizing process mining in comparison to the traditional methods.
Sure, Vishnupriya. Thanks for kicking off the session. Okay, so I think already Vishnupriya helped us realize that processes are everywhere, truly. Even starting from registering for this GHCI event to coming here, we all are part of one or the other process. And if processes work, we are less frustrated, we are more fulfilled, and companies are more productive, more efficient. Overall, feels like the planet thrives. So if processes work, everything works. But making processes work is easier said than done. That's the whole idea. How do you make these processes work? That's where process mining is the solution. It helps you to understand, first of all, how your processes are executed. What are the inefficiencies? Where do you see any performance issues? What are the bottlenecks? And then take corrective actions based on those insights. Okay, so then, but how do I discover this reality? What do I do? Is it really something I need to do a scan like X-ray? No, not like that. It's like you always have one or the other system supporting your process execution. It could be SAP, ServiceNow, ITSM, Oracle. One or the other system is always behind what you see on the front end as a user. So process mining is really about analyzing those execution logs which are captured in those data systems to be able to see really what is happening on the ground. Because in our minds, we may be thinking, hey, we planned it this and this way, probably some deviations, but we have seen with customers, the reality is almost like a spaghetti. You can't even imagine that the actual executions are far, far from your reality. Okay, with process mining, at least we were able to already see how things are happening in my organization, but it still had a limitation. Limitation in the sense that every department in the organization speaks different language. So if I'm part of order management, I am all worried about orders. If I'm part of inventory management, I talk in terms of material movement. If I am part of, accounts receivable, all I am concerned about is invoices. But do you think they all are so independent of each other? No. The main problem here is we lack the shared understanding of the entire process. And that's what is now recently possible to see the exact digital twin capturing the end-to-end process of your organization with the help of object-centric process mining. Because you can sort of discover a complete stitched story of your process, which helps you to now more accurately know where are the inefficiencies. Okay, while all this is great, exciting, still what we have achieved is being able to draw deeper insights. Okay, I know more accurately, okay, this is the problem in the process. But then, that's where Gen AI is helping us drive relentless pursuit of excellence, in the sense you can actually take actions based on those insights. So maybe I'll just take an example in, a real example of possible late deliveries. If let's say you have Gen AI sitting on top of what you have discovered using process mining, it is able to already predict that you may have late deliveries for some of your orders because you are short of some materials in your inventory. And based on that, trigger the automatic replenishment of your orders. So you see how process mining connected, it's like a connective tissue by integrating the data across these systems, which wasn't possible otherwise. And then Gen AI sitting on top of this to make your processes more proactive, prescriptive, and personalized. So that's, I think, is the power of combining process mining with Gen AI. And I think that's really a very incredibly promising set of technologies which we can leverage further. Yeah.
So Renuka, what is your take on this?
Sure. So before I start, I'll just ask a question. How many of you think Gen AI has been for at least 5 years? Can you raise your hand? Okay. And how many think it has been there for at least 15 years? Not many? Okay, I can see one hand. So in fact, as a technology, it's been available. For example, Siri, Alexa, Google Translate, they all generate text, right? You ask a question, they generate text. So Google Translate came in maybe in 2006, so it's almost been 18 years. So as a technology, it's been there. But what has changed? What has really changed is its capability. So now you have something called the recent advancement of foundation models, where you give humongous amount of data so it's able to understand as well as generate text or images or speech and so on, right? And this is where we can harness this information. So it can generate code, for example. So if I look at how it is going to be used in process mining, so typically process mining is being used for 3 things. So you first discover your process. You want to understand how your process is running. You then want to monitor and see where things are going wrong, what's going wrong. And thirdly, you want to optimize it. So finally, we all want to improve our processes, or reduce costs, or be compliant, and so on. So in discovery, I would say because of this language understanding, it's not only being able to process all the structured data that's there in the enterprise, a lot of enterprise systems, but now you can also harness the unstructured information that's available in all these systems. So that's one thing. That's where we are understanding our process better. Second, if you look at monitoring, I mean, this is where I think the most impact has come in. Because if you see earlier, if a business owner had to get some insights, you would need a data scientist to understand all this process data and present to them. But now, the business owner can probably ask it in a natural language. The GenAI technology is powerful enough to understand. Then you can generate code, you can generate text, you can basically process your data. So I would say most mature use of GenAI has been in monitoring. The third is optimizing. So once you know you have bottlenecks in your system, how do you optimize it? You can do what-if analysis, saying what if I improve some particular part of the process and so on. Here I would say it's not used much, but there's a lot of opportunity there. That's how I see it.
Yeah, it is very exciting to know that GenAI helps in process transformation and reducing the cost for business transformation altogether. So, Neha and Nitya, on top of this, what are some successful use cases of GenAI powered process mining implementation across different sectors?
So I think we have a good combination here. Both Renuka and Monica, they come from a research background, and Neha and myself, we come from the business background. Okay, so they talked about the technology, but really, how do we translate it to monetizing this technology and leveraging it to improve business processes? Okay. Process mining, as Monica and Renuka described, it helps evaluate a process as it runs through digital systems. Okay. Now, translating this to a business application. So when you look at any process in your business, if you look at, say, for instance, hiring a person, and that's something that all of us relate to. The number of steps that happen, when it comes to hiring a person. Okay, so when you look at, process mining, and you have the business objective of wanting to overall reduce the time to get a person on board. Okay, what is it that you do? You mine this process and look for, hey, what are the inefficiencies? What are the problems that go wrong? Do candidates show up for interviews and they don't join? Why is it that they don't join? What are the reasons that they come back with? What is the time frame that it takes in your organization from the time a person has applied on your portal to the time that they get an offer? and, can we optimize this process? So process mining looks at optimizing this. Now, when you look at, applying GenAI as well, to this whole thing, GenAI, what does GenAI do? How many of you have used, ChatGPT to generate a PowerPoint or generate some content? Okay, even before, going to any sessions, you tend to use ChatGPT because it's a good starting point for you, right? So it generates content. Now, when you apply this to any business scenario, process mining, like Renuka said, it gives you the analysis, the output, helps you do the analysis. But then when you want to humanize it and get information out of it, so for instance, if you want to send an automated email to your candidate telling them that, hey, we've received your application and we will be getting back to you shortly, that is, where you can use GenAI for this. Or, for creating a chatbot in your, organization and making the chatbot, more, the conversation more user specific. That is an application of GenAI. So, using both GenAI and process mining, you're looking at the structured analysis, which is the complete data-driven, as well as humanizing, the whole experience. And, going down to, today I'm responsible for the power and utility sector. And in the power and utility sector, there are, doesn't stop at just business processes. It's at the very operational level. So earlier I just, listened to something on 5G networks, okay? And 5G networks, how is it that the network can self-correct, okay? Now, for being able to detect this, a technique like process mining, when applied to a digital twin of any, digital network, or the digital grid, as we call it, for our power and utility sector, when the process mining techniques are applied to this, you can figure out where, there are gaps in the process, when, what are the failure points and why failure points are happening in this, okay? And when you look at responding back to customers, you can, you detect that there are failure points and a possible grid downtime. And the process of sending emails to customers, communicating back to them that there is a possible, downtime, that can be done using GenAI. So both very powerful technologies, when working together, can make a big difference and, can be leveraged for business transformation.
Yeah, Neha, what is your perspective on this?
Thank you. So I think as Monica, Vishnu and Anita also said, right, so wherever the data is moving, there process mining can be used, right, because the data is moving from one point to another. And if we have to necessarily talk about the adoption of the use cases where GenAI enabled process transformation is being done, so let me answer this question into two parts. So India is going through a phase of digitization, right, with a lot of these government initiatives, Make in India and everything. All of the processes are going towards digitization, which necessarily demands for the data-led assessments, process mining-led transformations, migration studies, and meeting the business objectives of the firms by taking the data-driven decisions rather than the gut-based decisions. Now, so me coming from a consulting background, right, most of our clients are fairly matured in the adoption of process mining, right, for their process transformations and the business transformation initiatives. Now, when it comes to GenAI, right, we being a part of consulting firm or the research firms or the product companies, we are using GenAI to a very good potential, right, and we are enabling our process transformations with GenAI. But when it comes to the clients and to the customers, I think it's really at an experimentation stage because the outcome of the process mining or any kind of process transformation are being used by two kinds of users. One is the technical user and the other one is the business user. So the technical user needs to have the know-how of the platform, of the tools which are being used, right? So they run the queries, they generate the insights, and then they give it to the business users for the consumption. Now what GenAI does, it bridges the gap between the tech user and the business users. It enables the business users to, input their requirements and get the insights out of these solutions and these platforms. So some of the, very quick wins that I have to talk about in terms of the adoption of the use cases are maybe in supply chain. We all are aware about the supply chain, right? A very simple correlation between sales, purchases and inventory, and forecasting the future demands and marking the inventory as either slow, fast moving or medium moving, right? So in the interest of the time, I'll just take a pause and move on to the next question. But if there are any questions, we'll be here to, take up the questions.
Yeah, it is very fascinating to listen to the real life use cases. And my next question is an extension to this. So when you are implementing the use cases, Neha and Anita, what are some of the risks or challenges that you have faced?
So again, if we have to talk about the risk and the challenges, so the outcome generated by these Gen AI solutions and the platforms, the trustability of those solutions becomes very imperative, because let's say if I am an operations manager, if I have to take an action basis, an outcome generated by a Gen AI, I really need to know that the result is accurate and would not impact my business in such a way that will lead to any kind of negative consequence, right? So the first one is the trustability, the accuracy. The second one is the reproduction capability of the insights. And the third one is the accuracy of those results, right? And the inputs which are going into the generation of these insights, right? How the data is secured, how are we ensuring the integrity of the data, how are we not compromising with any kind of compliance adherence to the firm's policies and all those, multifaceted dynamics comes into picture.
So what is your take on it, Anita?
So, one thing that, really worries me about, Gen AI and ChatGPT and all of, the content generating tools, because, some of them are very openly available and accessible. So the point of, suppose you use, for instance, you have a presentation tomorrow and it's a customer presentation. And the easiest thing is, hey, use a tool that could generate this, PowerPoint for you. Enter the content, the synopsis, into one of the sites that will generate it for you. Okay. But have you stopped to think about the data that you're passing into the site? Is it secure? And if it is customer data, can you really take it out of your organization domain and put it into a public domain? What if your customer finds out? Okay, there is going to be implications to your organization. Okay, so this is something that all of us have to worry about. And while using any GenAI, applications, or while using GenAI APIs or algorithms, it has to be within the purview of what is permitted by your organization and for your IT. So you have to ensure you have the right key, the right access, and this is approved by your InfoSec organization, okay? The next thing is that, I was listening to one of my colleagues, we had this presentation on sustainability, and, we had the sustainability awareness in the organization. And what struck is that each time you download, 1 GB of data on your mobile, you burn one piece of charcoal, okay? Now, this is something that stuck with me. Now, when you use something, an LLM, a call, there is, it is GPUs and TPUs of data that is processed. So it is a very expensive, proposition, and it does use a lot of energy, okay? So look, and any call to an API also costs the organization. So while designing your application, make sure that, you are cognizant or sensitive to the fact that there is a cost involved and use it when absolutely needed. Okay? So this is the point that I would like to leave you with.
Monica, do you want to add anything on this?
So for me, I think it is really about digital trust, because while we can automate cars, we can automate network, we can automate everything, but I still believe, unfortunately, we cannot automate trust. And there is a recent study in 2024, and the report says that 39% people globally believe that innovation is all poorly managed. And over years, the trust in technology is just going down and down. Now just imagine, when we are losing trust, we are losing our relation with the governments, with our customers, with our even, future generation, right? So to me, I think it's very important to commit to trust. You can't automate trust, but we need to commit to build applications wherein we take into account that trust is an essential element of any innovation. And when I say trust, it really encompasses everything we have just heard from Anita and Neha: security, privacy, ethical use, responsible use, authenticity, and whatnot, right? So we need to be responsible to build solutions, because we are the ones sitting behind the technology, which can help us regain that trust with our customers. And one of the things we can achieve that is, like, when we are giving any recommendation or any, suggestions, prescriptions using any GenAI model, we also give an explanation to why this is the outcome. This, in some sense, will help build trust. Similar to, like, you gain your kids' trust by saying, hey, you can't have a chocolate, but you need to explain why not, because, that's what it can do to your health. So similarly, I think we need to make this commitment towards having, digital trust as the ingrained part of any solution.
So Renuka, being a research leader yourself, can you give your take on this?
Sure. So, see, trust, cost, all these are extremely important. From a technology perspective, I will talk about the two important things that we usually look at. One is the most common you would have heard of, is hallucination. So, think about a business decision made because the generative AI hallucinated and generated a data which didn't exist. Right? So somebody says, what are the bottlenecks, or what was my orders that happened in a particular geography, and you come up, the model comes up with its own. So we are looking at there's a lot of work going on in detecting hallucination beforehand and ensuring that, you don't give that information, wrong information to the user. The other thing which was also discussed was, because these models are really large and very expensive, very, from sustainability also, it's not really good. There's a lot of work happening on small language models. So you start looking at, can I have a model which will only understand process data, where you train it on the process data, and it's going to be able to do fantastic in that particular domain. But here there's one issue that we are facing is, these models, if you train them on something new, they forget the whole thing. It's called catastrophic forgetting. So that's another challenge that we want to solve. So can we make these small language models also learn, but not forget what they've already learned? So these are some challenges.
Absolutely. These are important considerations when we want to use GenAI in process mining. So my next question is, I'm just wondering, how can legal expertise ensure compliance and ethical use of generative AI?
Right. Again, I will answer from a tech perspective. So this is where we are looking at the concept of guardrails. Okay, so you have certain policies, certain rules that should not be violated. And while these models are extremely powerful, they can make mistakes. And here, I just read an article around from one of the IBM researchers, IBM fellow, around the Diwali time. So I just want to give you that analogy. It stuck to me. So basically, these large language models, these ChatGPTs and all, are like Ravana, right? He was a great philosopher, very knowledgeable, very powerful, but couldn't control his voices. And that's why you needed somebody like Ram to come and control him. So that's why we are looking at small models, like guardian models, which would kind of constrain these large language models from making mistakes, violating policies, and so on.
Yeah, very good analogy, Renuka. Neha, do you want to add
Just
anything
to
here?
add to it, so Renuka beautifully explained the technical science of, guardrailing the data. But when it comes to our client, right? So generally, all the organizations are risk averse, right? They really want to tighten all of their compliance laws, adherence to policies, and everything. So we just spoke about data security, where the data is residing, the integrity of the data, how the data is protected. But the other part of it is we just talked about the models, right? So, especially in the regulated industries like healthcare, insurance, right, where the decisions are very important and it may have, a very serious impact on the people who are consuming those decisions or the outcomes of those decisions. The transparency and the explainability of the models which are being used in this Gen AI solutions needs to be really, really solid, because we just talked about hallucinations, fake data, and having the insights which are not reflecting the actual picture of the demand or the requirement. Let's say a decision has been made for a patient which is not in which was not the best decision for the patient. Let's say in a banking industry there has been a marketing campaign rolled out basis a readout from a Gen AI solution, and that marketing campaign is really having adverse effect. So that is about the regulated industry. Now let's say if there is an advertisement which is being generated from the Gen AI, and that advertisement is misleading the customers. So there are a lot of compliance issues, ethical issues. There are a lot of regulations which we need to keep in mind when we are, urging our customers to consume the outcome of Gen AI.
So, Monica, how do you think this innovative combination of technology and can impact society and the environment?
Absolutely, Vishnupriya. I think this one I would say is the closest question for me now, because as I sit here, my kiddo in Delhi NCR is going through online classes. Just imagine, right? That's the future or the present we have created for our next generation. So it's not a thing of future anymore. It has to be addressed now. And I think we all talk about AI innovations for better business, etc. Actually, we need to shift the focus and have innovations which are more sustainable. Not worry about creating, AI companions for Zoom or any platform to make online classes easy, but rather worry about building technology which is more sustainable so that they can actually go to the school maybe, right? So I have seen with my customers that the process driven sustainability solutions are turning out to be more powerful for some of the leading enterprises. And the primary reason is, yes, most of us, and even including myself, we are saying, yeah, we contribute a lot to the carbon footprints through all the material procurements we are doing, through all the movements happening for the organization, etc. But I'm lost at, where do I fix it? Where the emissions are happening, where do I cut it down? And that's where you can leverage process mining and Gen AI together. By being able to capture how the flow happens across the process, you know exactly, where is the maximum emission happening. And Gen AI can help you come up with recommendations so that you prefer choosing vendors which are more friendly in terms of material or shipping emissions over selecting other vendors. Like for example, even these days, if you see, Zomato asks you to select the restaurant which is closer to you, even if you get less discounts as compared to the one where you may get more discount but is far off. So we are the ones who need to take this responsibility to drive more sustainable technology through process and Gen AI.
Absolutely, Monica. I could not agree more with you. Building sustainable technology is the need of the day. So, Anita, do you want to add anything here?
Yeah. So I'd like to add here, the first thing that I want to stress on is that process mining as a technique itself, since it's based on structured data, it's a more efficient way to analyze processes and get information about processes. And, the outcome of doing process mining is that you can pinpoint exactly what is the problem that you need to fix to make your process more efficient. Okay, and this efficiency reduces waste. Okay, so even if it is optimizing your entire supply chain and finding out, which is the most optimal way, which is the most carbon footprint friendly way to transport goods from one point to another, in your supply chain, you can leverage, process mining for it. And, if, today there are a number of tools like, Climatic, NVZ, that help, EcoArdis, that help calculate, the footprint. And process mining techniques, when used with data, from these tools, can help overall, optimize, and live sustainability. And the other thing is that, when it comes today, when it comes to, energy consumption, if your energy grid is not optimized, there's a lot of wastage, okay? And also when you're looking at, more sustainable sources of energy like solar, and you want to integrate that into your grid, when you're using techniques like process mining, you can, better manage grid optimization. So net, I would always say that, this as a technique helps towards optimization and reducing waste, which is definitely the need of the hour today, to create a sustainable environment.
So Anita, we have talked a lot about process mining and generative AI in process mining. If anyone in the audience want to take a career here, so where do you want them to start with?
Okay. So in terms of, career, I would like to point out that, today our organizations like NASSCOM, are, with their future skills program, is looking to enable both professors in universities, and train them on future skills, as well as, providing this one credit course for students in universities for learning, new topics like process mining and artificial intelligence. There's a lot of the industry, academia collaboration that's happening today, and that is something that, everybody should look forward to.
Yeah, and maybe just to add to it, Anita, there are also communities like I am leading one, which is Women in Process Mining. And through these communities, you get free access to the expert-led webinars, sessions, and also, the study material. So which helps you to gain the foundational knowledge about the area and also have close network with the experts in the domain to help you grow as a leader. And in fact, I think being part of such communities is not just about learning technology, but you feel that sense of belongingness also. So I think that's also one way. Maybe Neha, you can tell more from industry.
Yeah, and I would urge the students or even to the people who want to make a career transition to GenAI or process mining to make full use of the internship programs, right? Or the alliance programs which the consulting firms or any firm who is in this area, they have with the market leaders. I would just request all of you to keep your eyes open, and this is one of such firms, right, where you get to know the avenues from which you can apply to these positions, from which you can keep yourself updated. There is a boon of information in the social media on our LinkedIn's, and the internal connects also helps a lot. So just make a use of these programs, and all we need to do is to keep our eyes and ear open. That's all.
Any closing remarks, Neha?
Yeah, so just one final closing remark from my side. There was a short survey done by Deloitte as a part of the Deloitte boardroom global program, and the results were that 50% of the board members, they still didn't have GenAI on their agenda, right? So that's a wake-up call. On one side, we are talking about India going through a phase of digitization. Most of our clients are having these standard ERPs. They have so much movement of data, so much regulations are in place. So I think it's the right time to adopt process mining and GenAI, and not only improvise your business objectives, but stay up with the trends, stay up with the monitoring and the fraud preventions, as well as keep up the operational efficiency as well.
Maybe what I want to highlight is that since the session was about process mining, so we have used, I think, process word for more than 100 times. I want to close by saying, end of the day, processes is for the people, by the people. So we all need to work together towards building processes or transforming them into a shape where it is fairer, smarter, and environment friendly. So that's what I think is the commitment we all have to make.
Do you have any closing remarks, Anita?
And I think, something like GenAI has democratized the use of technology and, made it open to everyone. And today, AI is used, as much by those with a non-technology background as those, with a technology background. Those with a technology background create solutions, leveraging the technology, but the usage is definitely by everyone. And I think, it's in today's world, in the working environment, you have to be aware of what technology can do. And the thing is that you control technology and don't let technology control you. So that's what I would say.
As a researcher, I can take this liberty where I can think of solving more and more complex use cases. I mean, application will be handled by the rest of my panel. But yeah, I think we are definitely seeing a lot of complex use cases which couldn't even be thought of earlier that can be solved today. But yeah, we always have this concern about making sure that there's enough trust, there's enough transparency, and there's control also given to the end user. Thanks.
As we wrap up, I'd like to thank our panelists for sharing their expertise and insights. It's clear that the combination of generative AI and process mining is just not a technology upgrade. It is a transformative force that's shaping the future of the organizations. Thank you all for joining us today. Here to an exciting future of smarter, more sustainable business transformation. If anyone of you want to talk to us, we are available. Thank you, everyone.
Check. I'd like to request you to please give them a big round of applause once again. I'd like to request Sohini Majumdar, the session chair, to please come forward and present them with a small token of our appreciation. We'd like to thank the panel once again for that insightful discussion on the topic harnessing Gen AI and process mining for business transformation.